This government is doing a very, very poor job, no, in governance, in addressing poverty, in addressing the socio-economic conditions. And I think that's the reason why sumasadsad sila at umaangat naman yung ating Vice President.
Bakit siya tinuturing na banta? Ito ang aking opinyon. Malakas ang name recall. Sa politika ng Pilipinas, mahalaga ang pangalan. Ang apelyedong Duterte ay may loyal na taga-suporta, may malinaw na brand ng strong leadership. Ito ang kinatatakutan ng gustong manatili sa kapangyarihan, lalo na ang mga tradisyonal na politiko. Hindi ganap na kontrolado ng political establishment. Hindi tulad ng ibang politiko, hindi siya lubos na nakatali sa isang political bloc. May kakayanang lumaban kahit walang pasbas ng elite groups. Ito ang dahilan kung bakit nagiging target ng political demolition, negative framing sa media, issue at kontrobersya kahit kuminsan pinalalaki lamang. Posibleng kandidato sa mas mataas na posisyon. At marami ang naniniwala si Pipi Sara ay hinihintay lamang ang tamang panahon. Ang kanyang presensya pa lang ay nakaiistorbo na sa plano ng iba na manatili sa kapangyarihan. Hindi ibig sabihin na siya ay perpekto. Wala siyang kahinaan o kontrobersya. Ngunit sa larangan ng politika, ang pinakamalakas na kalaban ay hindi ang pinakamaingay kundi ang may kakayanang manalo. At dito nagiging banta si Pipi Sara. Kapag ang isang leader ay paulit-ulit na inaatake, hindi palaging dahil siya ay mahina. Kadalasan dahil siya ay kinatatakutan. Sa konklusyon, si Pipi Sara ay simbolo ng alternatibong kapangyarihan. Hamon sa status quo, isang political figure na hindi basta-basta mababaliwala. Kaysa sa mata ng mga nagnanais manatili sa kapangyarihan, siya ay hindi ilang kalaban, isa siyang seryosong banta. Panoorin po natin ang report dito sa balita ng SMNI.
Vice President is the biggest threat, so to speak, to their desire to actually be in power, whoever it is, whether it's BBM Allied Forces or whether it's the pinks or the yellows or the Liberal Party. They know that the biggest stumbling block to their desire to have the power is the vice president, and so they're going to do everything, in their right or in their power to actually create the noise against the vice president.
Wala na po bang solid north?
I think meron pa rin mga meron pa rin mga loyalists, and I think this loyalists ay yung mga talagang naniniwala hindi kay BBM kundi doon sa legasiya na maaaring iniwan ng kanyang ama, no. And I believe these are the very very old people at this point in time. Kasi yung solid north, I think medyo nag-dissipate yan mula noong inilatag ni Senator Amy Marcos yung kanyang accusations that the president is a cocaine addict among others, no? So I think ito yung isa sa dahilan kung bakit medyo nag-erode talaga yung konsepto ng solid north. Plus of course titignan natin na marami na rin namang mga marami na rin namang mga tao, especially dito sa norte, I believe, na hindi na masyadong naniniwala. Kasi right now, because of social media, the truth is being exposed to us much better. Maaaring may mga fake news, maaaring may mga not so credible outlets, pero at least meron tayong pinagkukuhanan. Hindi kagaya nung araw na talagang puro fanaticism lamang, no? Yung pagiging fanatiko natin ngayon, medyo napapalitan na ng tamang mix ng information somehow. And I think this is the reason why that solid north, or at least the concept of the solid north, is slowly being diminished, no? Pero ang nag-emerge nga rito right now is the phenomenon of the solid south, Uh, wherein we're seeing around 23 million solid voters coming from Mindanao as well as Visayas. And I think they're all lining up for the vice president.
Opo, Prof, sa tingin niyo po, kung titimbangin yung may maraming mga paninira na nangyayari ngayon sa Marcos at Duterte, sino po ang may marami po? At tingin niyo po, nakaapekto ba ito sa kanila?
Well, kung sa dami ng paninira, definitely, meron kasi tayong tinatawag na parang state-sponsored na paninira. No? And definitely, ito yung ginagawa ng gobyerno laban sa mga Duterte. Pero ang mahalaga natin kasing makita rito is kung yung narrative ba, tinatanggap ng mga tao. Kasi ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the people who will decide whether or not the government really is doing something or whether or not what they're telling against the Dutertes is real and factual. No? And dito nga, nakikita natin, kahit naman sa social media, kahit siguro gumawa lang tayo ng mga informal surveys, makikita natin that they are not in agreement with the narrative being given to us by Malacanang precisely because lives of the people are being sabihin na natin compromised here kasi the issue of the flood control is directly correlated with survival. At kung ito ay ninakaw mo, para mo na rin ninakawan yung taong bayan ng kanilang karapatang mabuhay. Not to mention that, this issue of flood control is also correlated with the systemic corruption that is happening. Syempre, mas lalo nakakagalit ito, no? At mas lalo nakakagalit kung meron tayong isang pangulo na mas pipiliing protektahan yung kanyang mga kaalyado kesa manindigan para doon sa katotohanan at ipaglaban yung taong bayan. Kaya ito yung hindi natin na hindi maintindihan ng marami sa ating kababayan. No? So I think between state-sponsored na mga paninira being created by the government at yung perception ng taong bayan doon sa narrative, I think mas mabigat pa rin yung nangyayari at yung appraisal ng mga tao doon sa ginagawa ng gobyerno o doon sa hindi ginagawa ng pamahalaan.
Opo, and natanong ko rin yun dahil nga po si Vice President Sara Duterte talagang halos buwan-buwan merong mga ginagawang mga issue o di kaya ay mga paninira laban sa kanya. Pero nagsimula ito nung nagkahiwalay na ang unit team since 2023 pa ata. Pero hanggang sa kasalukuyan po, kung pagbabatayan po natin ang mga survey, nananatili pong siya ang mataas po, Prof, no? Ang dami pa nitong mga paninira. Saan kaya humugot ng magandang puntos ang Vice President po, Professor, sa kabila po nitong mga aligasyon laban po sa kanya?
Well, basically, because I think, number one, yung mga allegations sa kanya kasi, were already decided upon by the COA a long time ago. It's just that the critics of the Vice President couldn't fathom the idea that there was already a decision made and that they will still continue to bark on the idea that the Vice President is corrupt. That's why they're going to continue with the impeachment. But we all know that the impeachment that was filed and that will be filed again is not really because of accountability. This is not about that. It's basically because of political maneuverings, because they know that the Vice President is the biggest threat, so to speak, to their desire to actually be in power, whoever it is, whether it's BBM Allied Forces or whether it's the pinks or the yellows or the Liberal Party. They know that the biggest stumbling block to their desire to have the power is the Vice President, and so they're going to do everything in their right or in their power to actually create the noise against the Vice President. And I think maganda yung ginagawa ng Vice President that she is not really she's not really kumbaga hindi siya nakikipagtapatan dito sa kanilang mga ginagawa, no? And I think the public realizes that, no, na patuloy siyang binabanatan, patuloy siyang tinadown, patuloy siyang tinitira nitong mga kanyang kalaban. Pero siya, nananatili lamang siya doon sa kanyang posisyon. She's just doing her job, she's doing her work, and basically that's it, no? Kasi kung titingnan natin, maybe the vice president may not be doing anything so significant at this point. But the problem here is that the government is really doing a lot of bad things, no? To the point na kahit walang masyadong ginagawang maganda yung vice president, sa sobrang sama ng gobyerno, talaga namang sino bang pupuntahan ng tao bayan, di ba? So that's basically it, no? And let's face it, yung presidente pa rin naman ang talagang may control. Because the vice president is just a president in waiting. Nag-aantay lang naman yan kung may mangyayari sa Pangulo, no? Kung halimbawa siya yung papalit, no? And in this case, no, the ball, the control, the resources, everything is really within the disposal of the president. So if the president is not performing well, and we know for a fact na hindi na sila magkaalyado at hindi na sila magkakampi ng vice president, maliwanag. Sensitize yung vice president doon sa mga kapalpakan ng gobyerno because they're not together anymore, 'di ba? So yun yung nakikita maaari ng taong bayan. No, kahit na paulit-ulit yung mga pambabanat nila sa ating vice president, still, nananatiling mataas yung kanyang rating primarily because this government is doing a very, very poor job, no, in governance, in addressing poverty, in addressing the socio-economic conditions. And I think that's the reason why sumasadsad sila at umaangat naman yung ating Vice President.
Sa napipintong pagbuhay muli ng impeachment laban sa pangalawang Pangulo, sa tingin niyo po, makaka-apekto pa ito sa political capital po ng pangalawang Pangulo po?
Well, if their goal primarily is to file the case and if it will go to the Senate, no, ang syempre merong pa ring somehow effect ito, no. Kung sakali man na hindi siya talaga makukonvict at siya ay makakapagpatuloy sa kanyang pananakulan, syempre maaaring may mga kababayan tayo na makikinig doon sa trial at maaaring mabago yung kanilang perception, di ba? So definitely merong effect yan. No? So if the goal was just to create some kind of political noise, to create a dent on her presidential bid, merong effect yan definitely because impeachment is a political exercise.
Maraming salamat sa inyong panunood. Kung nagustuhan nyo ang video na ito, paki-like naman at paki-subscribe na rin. Maraming salamat. Bye-bye. Hanggang sa muli.